Hello and welcome back to the streaming studio. I'm Becky Phelps.
And I'm Joe Winters, here once again to talk about the potential for some strong weather.
Yes, we have been tracking this for, you guys have been on top of this for a while, but I've been very in the loop for at least a couple days.
You have.
Getting all of the updates from you and from Corey last night and Justin this morning, so we have been on top of it for a while.
Did you hear the storms this morning?
This is actually, I thought of you at 3 o'clock this morning.
Wow, okay.
Because something thundered so loudly right outside my window. I mean like movie thunder.
Oh, wow.
Very loud, very startling. I woke up, I thought, oh man, I wonder what time it is. Because Joe said about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I went and I looked at my clock.
And?
Joe, it was 2:59.
That's good. I'll take that as a win.
Killed it.
I'll take that as a win.
Perfect timing. Incredible prediction. Right at 3 o'clock. It hit, but it wasn't so bad that I couldn't go back to sleep.
No, and it's kind of nice to have storms that move through, and none of those were severe. We had no warnings that came out this morning at all. What we did have this morning from those storms, the loud thunder certainly that you talked about, but also some pretty impressive rainfall totals. So let's just start with that before we kind of get into what could happen as we head through the later part of the day. We have StormNet gauges, and there are a lot of them across Eastern Iowa. If you want to become part of the StormNet family, you can just go to our website. On the weather page, you can see how you can get a Tempest gauge and become part of the family as well. But here, just in the Cedar Rapids area alone, during those storms, we picked up about an inch of rain in a couple of hour period, so that certainly was beneficial. A little bit less in the Dubuque area, but still close to a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch. Iowa City also getting generally a ½ to 3/4 of an inch across the area. So Cedar Rapids, the highest yet, but Waterloo, look at that. Almost an inch and 3/4, inch and a half in most areas. So there were certainly some heavy rainfall that pushed across the area, and that's what came from those thunderstorms. Despite the loudness of the storms, they didn't cause any issues as far as severe weather. There may have been in a couple of storms, although we haven't had reports of it, some patchy areas of hail, very small, but nothing that caused problems. So yes, woke you up.
Oh yeah.
Realized it was spring thunderstorms, and then we got some, again, what really is honestly some beneficial rain.
Okay, so not such a bad morning.
No.
Now, we have been talking about 2 rounds of this. So our first alert day is still in effect. What are we looking at for the rest of our night, Joe?
We're going to watch because, and we'll show you why we might even get 3 potential rounds. So we've had 1.
Okay.
That's done.
Okay.
What we're going to watch is redevelopment of strong to severe storms. And we're going to watch that mainly, and we'll give you some timing on that, of course, but mainly the evening hours. But just want to take a look at the current satellite that we have across Eastern Iowa, and this is what's happening right now. And you'll see back off across the north and west, there still are some areas of showers, but as we look farther back down toward the south, so we're looking near Lamoni right now, over toward Washington, Des Moines, there's some clearing that's starting to take place. What that would do is allow warmth to move in quicker, and that could potentially bring some thunderstorm development in that area as a warm front moves off to the north. So the next 3-4 hours, we'll kind of be watching that area. It doesn't mean something's going to develop, but it could be additional development before we look at what happens as we head through the later part of the evening. If these develop, the tornadic threat with this type of storm would be higher than we'll see later today. And that's why we'll be in the weather lab and certainly watch that. If that doesn't happen, then we just watch for a line of storms to move through, which we'll time out for you coming up in a little while, so you know when those storms move through. So really 2 primary threats remain with us, of course. One is going to be the damaging wind and hail, which we've talked about, and that's evening into the nighttime hours. And then that isolated threat that we could see some damaging wind or potential isolated tornado threat if we get that to develop farther to the south because of the sunshine that's out there.
Okay, Corey had a really great explainer for us last night about how hail forms.
Oh, sure.
I do think I finally understand it.
You do.
Because that struck me. We talked about hail for so long, and I thought, I actually don't understand why hail's coming into play right now.
Oh, so why
And
it's
so, yes, like
particularly
what
now?
in the atmosphere, what's contributing to the hail. So that was really very interesting to me.
So you can watch that explainer.
You can. That is under the Weather Now section of our app and on our website, uploaded if you'd like a little bit of insight into how hail happens. I found it fascinating.
That's fine. And aside from what's happening, if you do get a hailstorm that moves through, once it's done, don't go out during the hailstorm. Once it's done, get a little hail and put it in your freezer. And at some point, very carefully, cut that hailstone in half, and you'll see the rings.
Like tree rings,
yes, exactly, or like an
so
onion.
Cool.
But you can do that, and you can take a look, and you'll see how many times, as Corey probably mentioned yesterday, it went through the storm and put on different layers of ice. So you can look at it, but again, don't go out during the storm. Afterward, grab a hailstone, and at some point, very carefully, because it's ice, cut it in half. It's fascinating to take a look at, too.
It is. And if you go outside and see some hail, send us a picture of it. You know, we love to see like a better, clearer picture of what you guys are seeing across eastern Iowa. So if you get any hail, send us a photo. UNews on our website or our app. We love to get those from you guys.
Do it safely. We
Yes.
always ask for that, too.
After the storm.
Yes, please.
Safely.
So as far as our upcoming severe threat, let's just kind of run down some quick headlines. Storms with wind and hail threat in Iowa. They'll develop likely back off toward the west and move to the east, the main line that will push through later this evening. The biggest thing is the timing of the evening redevelopment. Right now, it's kind of coming into line for probably a 6 to 8 o'clock. Ish, right along Highway 35, or Interstate 35, so that would move it into the TV9 viewing area or the eastern half of Iowa as we move toward the later part of our evening hours. Same thing you should do. Stay weather aware today. Hope your weather radio is ready to go, and then of course, as we mentioned, make sure the weather app's ready to go too, because that's the thing you want to watch very carefully, because we'll certainly give you updates on that as well. Now, one thing that can help aid in severe weather is warmth. And there's our forecast for Dubuque, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and Waterloo, mid to upper 60s, near 70. While it's close to records, at this point it doesn't look any records will be set. It's warm enough to allow those showers and storms to develop, and that's why they could grow in strength as well. So something to keep in mind, near record warmth, one of the ingredients that we're watching as well as those storms continue to push through. And we're not alone. It's all of eastern Iowa that's seeing that severe threat. Take out a line from Decorah to Charles City, move south. Now you notice that orange area down in southwest Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, that gets into the more enhanced risk, and that's probably where some of those storms will develop first and then eventually move in our direction as we do head through the evening hours. So let's go ahead and run down some timing for you, the latest that we're seeing. And right now, again, as we move forward, we're not seeing a lot of development on this model in that clearing area. That could happen, we'll watch and see. But by about 6 o'clock, it's likely that western areas of Iowa will start to see along the cold front. So again, remember yesterday we talked about strong southerly arrows, those southerly winds, the red arrows. You see that across most of eastern Iowa, the blue arrows back across the left side of your picture, that's the northerly wind. So in between there's a cold front that's lifting that unstable air up, allowing those storms to develop, and they do pretty quickly. As we move from 6 to 8 o'clock, they start to enter the TV9 viewing area, and it's kind of on the leading edge where you find more of the damaging wind threat that would be with these storms. Certainly they can all contain hail and some frequent lightning, but again, right on the edge, that's also, if you could get a tornado that would spin up very quickly, it'd be on the leading edge of those storms. So that's where we're looking at that threat probably 7, 8 o'clock-ish in the TV9 viewing area, continuing to move through, still with us around 10 o'clock tonight, but the northwest areas, Charles City, Waterloo, started to move out, and by midnight this activity is largely done as far as any severe threat for us, and then certainly moving out as we head towards Saturday morning. So that's kind of your timing on when those storms will move through. It hasn't changed a lot from yesterday, other than that little afternoon development that could happen. The main development, though, still evening development.
We mentioned earlier, and especially yesterday, that the risk of a tornado is there, but is slight. What would it take? What are we kind of missing for, the chance of there being a tornado around? What would it take?
Yeah, one of the biggest things would be the fact that we need the atmosphere more unstable. We need more wind shear. We need more change in direction of the winds as we go up in the atmosphere. What we're watching right now is there's the warm front that's in the area, and just north of that warm front, if we could get a storm to just get north of that front, there would be more of that shear, which is basically, think of it as a twisting of the winds as you go up, which can lead to that type storm. So we don't have as much of that as we have sometimes where we're talking about, hey, this is a tornado threat day where we'll see tornadoes, or we could. This one isolated in nature, and it's just because we don't have as much wind shear in the area. Still have moisture, and we have warmth, so we kind of have those two ingredients in place, but the shear would be the biggest thing we don't have as much of.
Yeah, that moisture and warmth. Already, when I said that this morning, feeling a little bit humid already.
Mentioned it yesterday. Do you notice it in the hair?
Yes. Okay, so I did, in anticipation of this weather threat, put on some extra hairspray.
Okay.
So the hair is holding up decently, as I hope we can all agree. But if I went back outside again, I imagine there would be an impact.
No wonder. It can go
Yeah.
and kind of fall. But
Absolutely.
I just wonder, it's,
we're going to insulate it today.
Keep it the way it is.
Keep it like this.
Let's take a look at our threats. And we do mention high wind. That's probably the primary threat. Large hail is still possible. The better chance of any hail was this morning, but that's certainly not out of the question. We do mention that tornadic risk is not zero. It's low, and we explain why that was the case. And heavy rain threat, certainly now with the fact that we have had some pretty good rains in some areas, inch and a half in some spots, and our ground can take it, certainly, which is great news, but that can also lead to more and more of development of heavy rain and potentially lead to some flooding in some areas. That would be more ponding on the roadways and things like that. So something that we certainly will keep our eye on. Let's take a look, and I haven't updated the timing on this, so the timing should stay the same. Noticeable difference in moisture, you mentioned that.
Oh yeah, you can feel it.
You can feel it when you step outside. That's with us right now. We do still have surface winds. Again, more southerly, that cold front moving in during the late part of the afternoon, early evening. We showed you that with the difference in the wind, so that certainly still is in play. As we move up in the atmosphere and look, again, a little bit more south-southwesterly, which is what we want, and they're still pretty strong, but again, not as much of a contrast between our southerly. If we had a great southeasterly wind right now and the southwest wind, they cross, and as they cross, that could cause those storms to develop more rotation, leading to tornadic formation, which we don't have right now. So that's the one missing ingredient there. And then we still have the intensity still higher down toward areas of Kansas, of course, as we mentioned, areas of Missouri. That's where they will likely see tornadic activity, but also more intense storms as they move through.
Okay. Wow, that red area is stretching a little longer than I remember yesterday.
Yeah, maybe a little bit farther north, but it's on the low end. This scale itself kind of goes even into some darker yellows, oranges, up to even white if you get a lot of intensity. So it's early season, so we're not getting quite as much instability or unstableness in the atmosphere as we would have, let's say, as we head through the later part of spring or early part of our summer season. But there's enough that those storms could develop, and that's why they have the severe weather risk out.
Okay, so we are, again, just keeping an eye on the timing for this evening, and we will, of course, be back in the 4, the 5, the 6. We'll be back here streaming at 5:30 for another update on the timing of those evening storms. We will keep you guys as updated as we are.
And if needed, we will break into programming both on the stream as well as on all of our platforms to let you know if any warnings are issued. We'll be in the weather lab. We'll be watching it.
Thank you guys so much for joining us this afternoon. Again, we'll be back, as soon as we need to be, but definitely starting at 4 o'clock. Have a great afternoon. Have a great afternoon.